as the Dallas Cowboys agreed to a contract extension with CeeDee Lamb today. And it was certainly a big one because as Adam Schefter broke the news this afternoon at, afternoon for Kaz, still the morning for us, at 10:56 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, the Cowboys and All-Pro wide receiver CeeDee Lamb reached an agreement today on a record 4-year, $136 million deal that now makes him the second highest paid non-QB in NFL history. The deal also includes a $38 million signing bonus, the largest ever given to a wide receiver. And Schefter provided some context on the highest paid receivers in the NFL on a year-to-year basis. Justin Jefferson is still the top dog. That is the highest paid non-quarterback in the NFL at $35 million a year. CeeDee Lamb's now right under him at 34. A.J. Brown of Kevin and Kaz's Philadelphia Eagles, $32 million. Amon-Ra St. Brown of the Lions, just over $30 million. Tyreek Hill, exactly $30 million. Jalen Waddle, $28.25 million. And Devontae Adams, an even $28 million. So, Kaz, I'm going to kick things off with you because this guy might be in your nightmares this year. He might have been in years past. But what are your thoughts on the Dallas Cowboys finally, as I say, giving a contract extension to CeeDee Lamb?
It sucks for us. Not because it's going to result in wins against the Eagles. That's not going to happen, but we could have had an easier path to that number one seed. And now it gets a little tricky when it comes to our division. So CeeDee Lamb, he's a dog. Can't deny it. Anybody who denies that, you got to check yourself into the hospital. You're not well. But now CeeDee Lamb, he's a dog. Much deserved. What I don't like about the whole contract thing nowadays is like we see all these big numbers get thrown around, and it's like every new contract to a top player, it's breaking a record. So when knowing that he came second to Justin Jefferson, I was like, I'm actually surprised that he didn't surpass Justin Jefferson because that's the way that it trends. You know, it's like in year after year, record broken, highest paid player, highest paid player at that position. But all in all, I mean, he played like a top 3 receiver last year. I believe did he lead the league Tyreek and then him in receiving yards? I believe it was. I think he led in receptions. Am I right on that?
He was definitely well over 100. I know that. I think he was somewhere around 130. Probably the amount of millions he's got. That's how many catches he had last year.
Yeah, don't quote me on that. But either way, I mean, to finish behind Tyreek Hill, who was on pace to be one of the only wide receivers that ever won an MVP. I got a question for United fans. Did Jerry Rice ever win an MVP?
No.
So that means that no wide receiver has ever won an MVP, correct?
I wouldn't say no wide receiver.
I don't think that has happened unless it's from it's like 50, 60 years ago or something like that we don't know about.
So I will fact check that. But first, I just fact check what you said about receiving. So CeeDee Lamb and damn near, I actually almost hit that on the head. In regard to how many millions he got. So he agreed to a $136 million deal. Last year, 135 catches. Led the NFL by a landslide because the next closest was Tyreek Hill and Amon-Ra St. Brown that both had 119. So he had 16 more than the guys tied for second. And then in regard to total receiving yards, CeeDee was second, only behind Tyreek. Tyreek had 1799. CeeDee had 1749.
Yeah, that's insane. I mean, it's just much deserved. It's point blank period. I mean, the contract, I mean, it should have been signed a long time ago. I think the Cowboys with them, my opinion, I think that they've taken a step backwards this season in comparison to where they were last season, especially with Deron Bland being out for 6 to 8 weeks, I think it is. Already, it's like in Philadelphia getting significantly better, Washington getting better, and New York's going to be New York for quite a few more years. But regardless, the NFC East is only getting tougher because of the Eagles and the Commanders, and Dallas needed to make a surge for it, and they did not. So, all in all, signing CeeDee Lamb to that contract, it just continues to make them a contender. No CeeDee Lamb, Dallas is not a contender. It's that simple. He's a game changer. Like I said, he deserves every last dollar, and he's a guy that I can't hate on, no matter how much I dislike the Cowboys. So, yeah, I mean, was that you said $136 million and he had 135 catches? That's almost $1 million per catch. So get your bag, man. Get your bag and do your thing, which is not win the division and definitely not make a run in the playoffs. But hey, the money looked nice though.
Yeah, it certainly does. And Toddy, I'm sorry, I just wanted to answer his other question. No NFL wide receiver has ever won the MVP. And ironically, I just Googled wide receiver to win NFL MVP, and this tidbit was featured in an article called "Could A.J. Brown be the first wide receiver to win NFL MVP?" And then this also noted, this was from last November. It also noted that due to the NFL Players Association strike, Jerry Rice only played 12 games in 1987 for the Niners. That was probably his best chance to win the MVP, I'm assuming. I don't know. I wasn't alive. But Jaevon, what do you think about the Cowboys and Jera finally giving CeeDee Lamb a contract extension?
So, yeah, I can kind of going off of this is per NFL.com. There was reception leaders from last year. You got CeeDee Lamb at 135, Tyreek Hill and Amon-Ra tied at 119. Then you have Evan Ingram at 114, Michael Pittman at 109, Keenan Allen at 108, Stephon Diggs at 107, A.J. Brown's at 106, Puka Nacua at 105, Devontae Adams at 103, and Adam Thielen at 103. And then Jamar Chase is right down there at 100. So his usage rate is going to be up there because if you kind of look at their receiving core, kind of been a broken record on this show. Who else is Dak Prescott going to be throwing the ball to besides CeeDee Lamb? So CeeDee Lamb is going to get his targets and he's going to get his yards because he is one of the most talented receivers in the league. But besides him, I feel like Dallas is kind of negligent on to the receiving core. I mean, their offense, what is their offense going to look like? I mean, I get they got Ezekiel Elliott back, but I mean, this offense is 4 years too late. So, I mean, I've known CeeDee Lamb would have been good coming out of college. Him at Oklahoma, I watched him closely. Kyler threw him bombs left and right at Oklahoma. So, I mean, just him, he was kind of a plug-and-play guy. Kind of from the gate, from when he stepped foot on an NFL field. So it was only a matter of time. There was an insane quote from Jerry Jones. Did you guys see that quote? He said there was only one guy that could get the fucking deal done or something like that. Because Kevin sent it into our group chat, and I was like, is this a real quote? I was like, did he really say this? And then I was like seeing a whole bunch of videos go viral. I saw McAfee said something about it, and Schefter was on with him, and he was like, yeah. He was like, is this a real quote? He's like, yeah. He's not trying to misquote him or anything, but yeah. And then, CBS, they put out like the quote and like they tweeted the quote, and I was trying to figure out, like, is this real? So, props to Jerry Jones, a guy who said that he didn't think there was any urgency to get the deal done. Seemed kind of urgent to me to get it done pretty much after the preseason ends. But I mean, hey, Cowboys, I don't think this changes anything for me or Shaun or Kaz on what we think about what the Cowboys will look like this year. Because we did preview the NFC East last week, and I'm pretty sure we all kind of assumed that CeeDee Lamb would be on the roster. And how much of a difference does it make? Maybe a game, but I don't know. Dallas is going to take a kind of a step back this year. They over the weekend just lost Deron Bland for about 6 to 8 weeks. He's a guy that had a whole bunch of interception stingers up for you Sac State guys out there. But he's coming off of an injury, and you got Trayvon Diggs, who's supposed to be coming back. He's also coming off an ACL injury. So kind of a couple of questions in that secondary that you'd like to see. But, yeah, I mean, Dallas, 9-8 team to me. That's just me. 9-8, 10-7 maybe. But, I mean, this is kind of what they're going to be this year.
Yeah, I agree. And I wanted to read the full quote. And shout out to Clarence Hill Jr. of the Dallas Star-Telegram. Because as Mike Tato said on X, nobody gets Jerry Jones to open up like Clarence Hill Jr. And so the full quote is, and this is from Jerry Jones, owner of the Dallas Cowboys, also the general manager of the Dallas Cowboys, when he said, quote, I've done it all. So I have an inordinate amount of confidence that if anybody can figure out how to get this shit done, I can figure out how to get it done. I've been there every which way from Sunday, and I busted my ass a bunch. And there's nobody living that's out cutting and shooting that can't give you a bunch of times they busted their ass. So hell no. There's nobody that could fucking come in here and do all the contracts and be a GM any better than I can. Plus, I'm where the buck stops. When it fucks up, I got to cover it. And so there, you can't give anybody enough. Can't give. There's nobody can do it. And so that's Jerry.
Gotta love Jerry, man.
I was like, no, you don't. He don't sound too happy. That's more of I'm mad I had to do it, but I got it done. So let me just take all the credit I can get while I can, even though deep down I didn't want to give him that money. But I feel like the reason why they took so long is because they know that the Cowboys aren't going to be that good this year. And, why not, take the league by storm and have this whole big dispute going on in Dallas, all eyes on Dallas. I ain't trying to hear about Dallas, man. And this isn't hey, I'm not trying to hear about Dallas. I don't care. We all said it last week, but I definitely said something along the lines of he's going to get the contract. He's not going anywhere. I wasn't losing any sleep about CeeDee Lamb. Oh, he might not be a Cowboy. I was hoping for it, but I was like, no, if these are Vegas odds, this is plus 50,000. You know what I mean? That he's not going to be a Cowboy. So no, I never was worried about it. It just seemed like something that they wanted to do just before the season kicks off, kind of get eyes on the Cowboys. Their fans are going crazy. Other teams are laughing at them, whatever. All publicity is good publicity. That's what a little birdie once told me. So, you got your publicity. You got all eyes on you. He signed a contract. Now watch us all just put the Dallas Cowboys in the past for the first 6 to 8 weeks. We don't care.
Yep, and now CeeDee Lamb is the 11th receiver to sign a lucrative contract this offseason, as Adam Schefter pointed out. So CeeDee Lamb obviously got his deal. Justin Jefferson, DJ Moore, Amon-Ra St. Brown. I'm going to save all the figures. You guys can look it up if you want. But CeeDee Lamb, Justin Jefferson, DJ Moore, Amon-Ra St. Brown, A.J. Brown, Jalen Waddle, Nico Collins, Devontae Smith. So that's 2 Eagles right there. Michael Pittman, Calvin Ridley, Jerry Jeudy. And still among the wide receivers that need to be signed is Jamar Chase, Brandon Ayuk, and then you even include a couple other positions with Trent Williams of the Niners and Hassan Reddick with the Jets, formerly of the Philadelphia Eagles. And so rather than asking about because I was going to do both, but we're going to save some time and I'm just going to ask for the one question. Rather than asking about who the best deal was of the offseason, because I know Kaz may lean to one of his guys, and Jaevon and our guy, has yet to be signed to that extension that he wants so badly. Rather than asking about that, I want to talk about Brandon Ayuk, Trent Williams, Hassan Reddick, and Jamar Chase. Kaz, who's the next guy that gets signed? Because the 49ers open the season 2 weeks from today on Monday Night Football at home against Aaron Rodgers in the New York Jets. So with 2 49ers being on that list of 4 players who still have contract grievances, who do you think gets signed next, if there's any of them?
You said Trent was on that list?
Yep. Trent, Brandon Ayuk, Hassan Reddick, and Jamar Chase.
Who gets signed?
Because this is the time of year that shit gets done. So I figure.
Yeah. That's tough. I'm not really sure how confident the Bengals are in making a run right now with the AFC North being as strong as it is. I would like to say Jamar Chase, but honestly, I think the Niners want to make another run for a Super Bowl, and if you're going to do that, you're going to need Brock Purdy with the utmost protection. I think it's Trent Williams. I think that is a top priority. You take away Trent Williams, I don't think that the Niners are nowhere near as successful as they've been on offense. Yeah. But if not Trent Williams, and I mean that in all seriousness, that completely reshapes your offense completely. So Trent Williams is probably the most valuable player out of all the players listed to their team that needs a contract. If it's not Trent, I'm going Jamar Chase because it's a wide receivers league now, and wide receivers are getting paid, and he's going to have a crazy season like we already talked about last week. I think we're all high on Joe Burrow this year. So if we're high on Joe Burrow, that means you're high on Jamar Chase. in the Cincinnati Bengals for the most part. So I think it goes Trent, then Jamar Chase, and then I have no idea who else.
I agree on Trent. Toddy, but what about you? Among those 4 guys, who gets signed first?
I don't think it's any of our guys. I have lost faith. I thought this deal should have been done weeks ago. I feel like Jamar's probably going to get a deal done pretty soon. The domino of CeeDee Lamb, of seeing what they felt like he would have gotten. He may or may not get a little bit more, a little bit less than what CeeDee got. But CeeDee's numbers were better last year. Jamar was dealing with a little bit of injury and had some quarterback troubles as well last year. So I'd say over a totality of, a body of work, and Jamar's deal isn't up until he has 2 years left on his contract. So he's kind of seeing all these other guys like, hey, like these guys are getting all these deals done. What about me? But at the same time, I feel like he should have to wait at least a year. But I get, because, receivers are kind of all signing their deals now. Jamar is kind of trying to jump at the opportunity of getting the deal done for himself. So I'd say it'd probably be Jamar Chase, because the domino of CeeDee Lamb kind of ended up coming out today. So I feel like he would be the next guy in line, even though Brandon Ayuk's freaking contract's been going on for like 4 months since the Super Bowl. So, I mean, hey, would I like for it to be Brandon Ayuk? Absolutely. But what I've seen this whole entire offseason, no evidence points to there's a deal going to get done anytime soon. I'd like for it to be that way. I don't want it to go up until Sunday night and like, hey, Brandon Ayuk just signed. Sunday Night Football is going on, and like, yeah, Brandon Ayuk just signed a new deal. They're ready to go get after it. So, yeah, I don't know how long that's going to take, but I feel like Jamar's deal is probably going to get done next. Trent Williams is going to be needed on this offensive line, because I agree with Kaz. This Niner team doesn't go as far as we think that it would be without one of the greatest left tackles ever in the history of the NFL on your offensive line. So I think it's going to be Jamar Chase who gets the deal done quicker. But, hey, that old Schefter notification could pop up anytime throughout the show, and we get a Brandon Ayuk deal. I'm all ears for it. So
as I just checked my phone, I was like,
wait, hold on. So news has broken on the show before, so I would Schefter to hold out on us now. So I think it is going to end up being Jamar Chase.
Ian Rappaport better not hold out either. I mean, Schefter's the guy. Rappaport's, if not a 1B,
Pelissero,
2.
Florio, Silver, somebody.
We need it. We need it. I need Trent Williams first before Brandon Ayuk. I have not been concerned about Trent Williams since all of this started. Like, when it first hit, I was like, oh, fuck. Like, Brandon Ayuk, love him dearly. Best route runner in the NFL, in my opinion. If you ask me, Brandon Ayuk or Deebo Samuel, I will lean towards Brandon Ayuk simply because Deebo gets hurt a lot. Love Deebo. He's looking great coming into this year. But if I had to choose one or the other, I would keep Brandon Ayuk. And so obviously I want the 49ers to pay him, keep him around. But Trent Williams is my biggest concern. I haven't been concerned about him since the news broke. Then I was like, he's in his late 30s or mid 30s, late 30s, whatever. And he doesn't like training camp. So I'm not really worried at all about that. If Trent Williams does not sign by next Monday's episode 111, I will be concerned, because then that's when practice for the real shit starts. And if he's still not there, I will be extremely concerned. To stand in my own question, I think it is Trent Williams. But Toddy, you're right in regard to Jamar Chase, because I feel like Jamar Chase, number one, he actually showed up at practice and he's been practicing. And I think that was a sign of good faith. And also I was listening to Pat McAfee earlier, and Bill Belichick in his weekly appearance said, when I had a guy who wanted to negotiate his contract and still had 2 years left on it, if you don't practice, I'm not negotiating, period. And so Jamar Chase showed up. Maybe the negotiations have ramped up now, especially because CeeDee Lamb hasn't necessarily set the bar, but he's right under Justin Jefferson. And maybe everyone knows that Justin Jefferson, when healthy, is the best wide receiver in the NFL. So then they're just trying to top everyone else. CeeDee Lamb has now set that bar for that second tier, and we will see who gets it done.